What is going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. So I actually did want to discuss an idea or feature I think would be so dope to have in Motorfest. Now, I do feel like some of these features are probably never going to happen, but at the same time, though, who knows? Maybe we might be able to see them. For this one, we are going to have one thing I feel like everybody has wanted or at least has asked for at least one time or another, and that is going to be the speedometer. Guys, check the one out here in the Made in Japan Volume 2 playlist. Look how dope that actually looks. Now, I'm not saying everybody's going to want a crazy speedometer on their screen like that one, but can we agree, though? Look at the detail on it. Look how bright the blue thing is with the RPM. You see the dragon thing on the top. You see, like, the big thing for, like, the actual nitrous there. You see, like, the crazy-looking dragon thing in the middle. The colors of it's going to be really unique. Would anybody else want to see something like this? Now, I'm not saying everybody has to use this exact same speedometer because why couldn't we customize them? Imagine having different ones for each playlist. Like, I do understand a lot of the playlists do have different ones, but imagine being able to add that said speedometer to the vehicle and actually customize them to fit the kind of car style that you actually like. What I mean by that is, let's say you're actually driving something like the Supra here. Maybe you want to have a speedometer that does have the dragon for like the Japanese playlist, so you can do that one, but you can actually change around different color options on it, maybe a few things on it to match your style. We can also have something maybe for off-road cars, maybe for hypercars, maybe for different classes and stuff. Like, what if you actually have like a muscle car, maybe have like a special speedometer there. If you have a crazy fast sports car, why not have a special thing there? I just feel like players would probably like small features like this. Now, I do admit right now, I do understand the big Year 2 update hit a lot of things on the head and actually was good. But at the same time, I also feel like there was a lot of things that were not even addressed. I am going to touch on this in an upcoming video, guys, for like my top 3, 4, maybe 5 things that I honestly thought about were actually going to be addressed here in the big Season 5 update. I mean, heck, I actually thought something like the speedometers were going to be addressed in this update. If you are wondering, the other playlist here, let me back out of this race here, guys, and I will head over to the next one. That is going to be in the Vintage Garage playlist. That one also has a very cool looking odometer. Now, I did actually hear on the old test drive games that there was something like this in those. Let me know in the comments on that one. I have to admit, I did not really play those games that much at all, so I'm not 100%, but I did hear stuff about that because on Test Drive Unlimited Solar Crown, well, people were looking for something like that in that game, but we obviously didn't get it. And players were like, yo, why don't we have different odometers on classic cars? And I went, wait a minute. I was also thinking about that in Motorfest, and here we are in the new Made in Japan playlist update, and we now actually have another playlist that has upgraded speedometers. Why not add something like this into the settings to where players can change it? Like, what if we were using like a motorcycle or something and maybe changing the odometer on the left to look like a motorcycle dash? I don't know, I'm kind of like speaking everywhere at this moment, but this is the way I am. I feel like a lot of these features in racing games would not only add on to the actual immersion of it, but it would also make so many players happy. Can I skip this cutscene, bruh? Thank you very much, and I'm still on the loading screen. Now, one of my favorite things about the Vintage Garage, though, is I feel like every classic car, guys, look at this. I know for a fact right now, everybody would agree that looking at that speedometer, you'd be like, yo, I definitely want that on my classic car, like any old car that I'm driving. Using something like the Donks, for example, or some of the old cars like the Eldorado here, even the Shelby Cobra, like, can we please have odometers like that when we're actually playing free mode? Doing other playlists driving our own cars, because if you actually jump into one of the playlists and you pick the Eldorado that's going to be on custom mode, I have to show this. Let me go over to reconfigure. I'm actually going to pick the Eldorado on custom mode here. Go back to the Eldorado, guys. So now I'm on custom mode with the Eldorado, wanting to show this. If you click on this though and do the custom mode there, let's click on the race here. The reason why I did want to show this, if you're not doing the actual playlist event, then you don't get these special goodies in there, man. Like, why did they actually make it like that? Why can't we really have different things in these said playlists? Even the starting on it's different, man. So jumping in, guys, look at this. My odometer is the same as it was before. Driving the same car in custom mode. Like, why is that, though? If you are using a classic vehicle in this playlist, why is it not a special odometer? Like, I don't really understand that. Same thing with the regular Made in Japan Volume 2 playlist. If you pick any vehicle in that one, it's going to be the exact same thing. If you pick like the Super Go over to custom mode, boom, the special odometer is going to be gone. I know for a fact this is probably going to be a small feature that a lot of players might be like, blocked, look, man, sounds pretty cool, but let's be real. We need a lot more than a special odometer customization thing in the game, which, you know what, I agree with. This is probably something that's down the road that we don't actually have to have yet. But I feel like at the same time, wouldn't it be kind of dope to be able to do that? It kind of frustrated me a bit. I really do like having the classic one there. I actually rather have that over the regular odometer when I'm doing one of these races. Now head over to here, playlist again, start it up. And I think a lot of players would agree though, like if you're doing one of these races in a different car, but you're actually driving a classic car, that's also going to be in the playlist. Why is the odometer different? Same thing with the other playlist, guys. Now, if they actually made a thing in this to where you can head into the menu and go, okay, so I can pick from, let's say, this odometer and the Made in Japan one for the Japanese cars or something. What if they had special odometers for each car, where they're from or something, or depending on the manufacturer that you're using? Imagine if you had a special odometer for those. Wouldn't that be pretty dope? I would actually really like having something like this odometer being a classic one, being able to use this in all my classic cars that I use. That would be so dope. I do know a lot of players probably want to cruise around in first person mode in their cars, man. They see the odometer. Imagine seeing the classic one down there, really going to give you the feeling that you're driving an old car. But no, instead you're actually going to get the gigantic one that we currently have on everything, unless you're actually doing the playlist in the special mode. And you know what? Because we're on this topic right now, can I mention something about this? Okay, can I mention something? Seriously, why is it that we only have a special edition of the actual playlist itself if we're only using the mode playlist, man? Like, I do understand I made old videos about this, I mentioned it, but I've been seeing so many people saying this recently. I have been noticing people going, wait a minute, can y'all please make it so if I actually want to do a main stage event, you know what, let me back out of this one real quick. Go back into the menu. But if you actually wanted to do something like the Made in Japan playlist, you do this race right here. Head over to that race, you're like, you know what, I actually don't want to drive the car I have to run on this playlist itself. I do want to drive my own car in the custom mode. Don't y'all think it would be way more fun in the playlist if you can actually have all of the events having this special thing on them no matter what class you are using? So we all do know for this one you have to use the RX-7 Turbo. What if I don't want to use the RX-7 every time I do this race just to make it special? What if I want to use the GTR or something like even the GTO Rival Edition, maybe the NSX? What if I want to use a drift car, a racing car, a hypercar? If you use a hypercar, you instantly can't get the special version of the playlist. This is something I never really understood though, because I think it would make the playlist even more fun and most likely have players go, wait, so now that we're going to have the custom mode in here instead of having the exact same setting in every single race you do with every single required class, like we have Tier 1, Tier 2, Drift, Racing, Alpha GP, Motocross, and so on, it is going to be the exact same setting every time you do it. But imagine being able to do these races in the special playlist mode with also being able to go after this right here, guys. Wouldn't that be dope? Funny thing is, you might say, well, it's going to be different. Let's jump in right now with the main stage mode, and I'll show you guys this as well. Okay, so jumping into the event here in the main stage part, I am using the GTR, which is a required vehicle for the main stage, or one of the cars you have to use for it. This is the only difference here. You're going to get, guys, some banners that say "to the streets." If you're actually farming something like the custom mode, going through every single playlist again, why in the world, okay, why in the world would they actually have it set up like this? I just don't understand it. It really does make the playlist a lot more boring, especially going through them with every single class though, and they all look the same. Like, why can't we actually go through them and being able to go through every single race having the special theme on them instead of only having to use like the Lancer, like the 3000 GT, to have the special version of the race? Like, I just don't understand it. And that would also make the custom mode so much more fun, man. Like, I really do feel like this was definitely something that was heavily missed in the big update. Do let me know what you guys think about this in the comments below. I would say having upgraded speedometers or being able to actually customize them would be so dang dope. On top of that, can we also get the special version of every single playlist regardless of actually using the main car you have to choose on it? I feel like so many more players would love the playlist and actually go back into them, having the special theme on every single race. And guess what that would do? That would also in return make the custom mode even better. Do let me know what you guys think about this in the comments below.